It's very likely that if YouTube recommended you this video and you chose to watch it, you need to stop changing your settings. Not just because it doesn't help you, but because it's literally stopping you from improving. Every time you change your edit on release setting or a couple keybinds or your double movement angle, you set yourself back weeks or even months worth of progress. It's impossible for you to focus on mastering new techniques while relearning something else. So instead of asking yourself, is this new setting better than my old setting? Ask yourself, are the benefits of the change going to be worth stalling your progress for a month? Which may sound weird coming from me because some people kind of know me as like a settings guy, but most of my videos aren't even about settings. It's just for some reason, those are the videos everyone's interested in. What I think I fail to emphasize a lot in those videos is that stuff is much more important for newer players than veteran ones. The best example to explain this is with a super common question I'm asked. What keybind should I use? Now, I have an entire video on the topic, but what's important to keep in mind, and what I should have emphasized more, is that the point of having good keybinds is that it makes it much easier to learn new techniques. You can learn things the quick way with good keybinds, or the slow way with bad keybinds. But if you've already put in the time and effort to learn how to do all the major building techniques the slow way, then you don't need to change anything because you've already learned it. At that point, it's just a waste of time to change binds again and relearn it all over. But if you're newer to the game and you'll know you'll have to learn lots of new things, it makes sense to switch to good binds so that you can learn them quicker. It's one of the reasons I don't make a best keybinds video every season. I mean, I know it'll perform well on my channel, but the best keybinds for this season are the exact same as last season, the season before that, and the season before that. Unless they add some important new bind to be able to like wall run or something, keybinds don't change. Set some good ones once and then forget about it. But it's not just keybinds I'm talking about, it's settings too, because the second most asked question is probably about edit on release. Edit on release on makes it easier to do multiple consecutive edits, but I've seen people without edit on release edit faster than I ever could, even though I use edit on release. And edit on release off makes it easier to wait before confirming an edit, but once you've learned how to peek safely with edit on release on, it's the same thing. So if you're having trouble with peeks, you could swap to edit on release off and hope it helps you, or you could practice your peeks in creative. The final reason you should stop obsessing over optimizing your settings is that most of them just don't matter. Look, if you want to put in a custom resolution to get an extra 1 to 2% boost in FPS, go ahead. But some of you are looking to getting raw XL, custom crosshairs, exit lag, 360Hz, bass boosted audio, digital vibrance, colorblind modes, you name it. Wondering, do I need this? Do I need that? Like, not to be mean, but what you need to do is just practice a lot. Your setup is fine, everything doesn't need to be optimal. People are surprised to find out I play on 1440p instead of 1080. Like, doesn't that give you less FPS? And yes it does. About 8% less on average, I checked. But if I like 1440p, is going from a low of 174 to 173 really gonna help me win fights? Probably not. I do the in-depth analyses to try and provide you with the best, most accurate information so that you can make a well-informed decision. But your decision doesn't have to be the quote-unquote optimal choice. Even though you know stretch res slightly lowers your FOV and doesn't boost FPS, it doesn't mean you can't use it. If you just like it, maybe you like how it looks or you're used to it, then go ahead and keep using it. Is that tiny bit of less FOV really gonna make you a worse player? Just don't go telling people they should all do the same because it lowers input delay or makes you aim better or something. Just say you use it because you like it. There's enough misinformation online as is. But the point is, if you want to get better, your very first thought should be practice to overcome whatever issue you're having. It should not be what setting can I change to fix the problem. You shouldn't be thinking about your setup or your settings much at all. If you've optimized them at least once before, it's good enough. The time you're spending trying to perfect your setup should be used on practicing to perfect your skill. I promise, like getting a PC tweak to try and lower your ping by a couple milliseconds or averaging 10 more FPS isn't going to change how you perform in your games. If aim is your problem, don't immediately go, should I try raw XL, or maybe I need to use this pro player sense, or do I need to swap to Expo? As long as your sense is somewhere in the normal range, you probably just need the aim drain. So if, and only if, you're someone who's relatively new, you can check out my keybinds guide. Everybody else, get back to practicing.